My name is Sophie Winters, and for the past 9 years I've been the family joke. The sister who never got it together. The one who dropped out of medical school. The disappointment who works a low-level research job and lives in a studio apartment in Seattle. The 33-year-old who still doesn't own a house or drive a nice car. What my family doesn't know is that I'm worth $520 million. And my older brother Daniel's entire biotechnology empire, the company he built his identity around, exists because I own 81% of it. Let me explain how we got here. I started pre-med at Johns Hopkins because that's what my parents wanted. My father is a cardiothoracic surgeon. My mother is a pediatrician. My brother Daniel got his MD from Harvard and went into research. Being a doctor was the family business, the expectation, the only acceptable path. But I hated it. I hated the memorization, the hierarchy, the certainty that there was only one right answer. What I loved was the research. The uncertainty, the discovery, the possibility that you could find something nobody had ever seen before. So in my second year of med school I dropped out. My family was devastated. My father didn't speak to me for 3 months. My mother cried. Daniel sent me a long email about wasting my potential and embarrassing the family. I moved to Seattle and enrolled in a PhD program in molecular biology at the University of Washington. I wanted to do research, not practice medicine. I wanted to discover, not diagnose. My family considered this a catastrophic failure. A PhD instead of an MD? Research instead of practice? I'd gone from their pride to their embarrassment. During my PhD program, I worked in a lab studying CRISPR gene editing technology. This was 2014, when CRISPR was just emerging as a revolutionary tool. Our lab was developing applications for treating genetic diseases. My dissertation focused on a specific technique for targeting cancer cells without damaging healthy tissue. It was elegant, precise, and potentially revolutionary. When I defended my dissertation in 2016, my family didn't come. They were too busy. Daniel was starting his own biotech company and couldn't take time off. I graduated with my PhD at 26 years old. I had $40,000 in student debt, no job prospects outside academia, and a family that considered me a failure. Then everything changed. A biotech venture capital firm called Apex Life Sciences had been following my research. They reached out with an unusual offer. Instead of joining an existing company, would I be interested in starting my own? They offered to fund a company built around my gene editing technique. Initial capital, $8 million for a seed round in exchange for 35% equity. I'd retain 65% with the understanding that we'd need more funding later. I was 26 years old and terrified, but I said yes. I founded Helix Therapeutics in September 2016. We had 4 employees initially. Me, 2 postdocs from my university lab, and a business operations person Apex helped me hire. We worked out of a small lab space in Seattle's biotech corridor. We were developing a gene therapy platform that could potentially treat multiple types of cancer by editing out mutations in tumor cells while leaving healthy cells untouched. It was groundbreaking work. It was also risky, expensive, and uncertain, like all biotech startups. Meanwhile, my brother Daniel had started his own company, Genesis Biosolutions. He'd raised $12 million to develop diagnostic tools for cancer detection. It was solid work, less risky than therapeutics, with a clearer path to market. At family dinners, Daniel's company was all anyone talked about. Daniel closed another major hospital contract. Daniel's company is valued at $40 million now. Daniel is a real entrepreneur building something meaningful. Nobody asked about Helix. When I mentioned we'd published a paper in Nature, my father said, "That's nice, dear." Daniel was just featured in BioBusiness magazine. I stopped mentioning my work. By 2018, Genesis Biosolutions was genuinely successful. They developed a diagnostic platform that was being adopted by major hospitals. The company had grown to 30 employees and was generating real revenue, $8 million annually. Daniel raised a Series B round, $35 million at a $120 million valuation. He was the golden child again, now not just as a doctor but as a biotech entrepreneur. That same year, Helix Therapeutics was struggling. We'd burned through most of our initial funding. Our lead therapy was showing promise in preclinical trials, but we needed at least $50 million to get through phase 1 clinical trials. I spent 6 months pitching investors. Everyone said the same thing. Too early. Too risky. Come back when you have more data. We were 3 months from running out of money when something extraordinary happened. One of our therapies, a treatment for a rare form of pediatric leukemia, showed 100% efficacy in our mouse models. Every single mouse was cured. The results were unprecedented. I published the findings. Within 2 weeks, 3 major pharmaceutical companies called wanting to discuss partnerships. Pfizer offered to acquire Helix Therapeutics for $340 million. I was 28 years old and I'd built a company worth $250 million. I took the deal. After taxes and paying back investors, my share was $180 million. I called Daniel to tell him. I was excited, naive enough to think he'd be happy for me. $340 million, he said. For a company that never even had a product on the market? We had breakthrough research. The therapy could save thousands of kids' lives. Still, it seems inflated. You got lucky. Lucky. Sophie, I'm not trying to be mean. But you got lucky with one good result. Genesis is building something sustainable. Real revenue, real customers, real value. I hung up feeling deflated. When I told my parents, my mother said, "That's wonderful, honey. Don't spend it all at once." My father said, "Daniel's company is profitable now. Real earnings, not just acquisition money." I learned once again that my success made them uncomfortable. Daniel was supposed to be the successful one. My windfall disrupted that narrative. So I made a decision. I'd become invisible again. After the Pfizer acquisition, I had $180 million and no idea what to do with it. I could have lived lavishly. Bought a mansion, driven a Ferrari, traveled constantly. But I didn't want that. I wanted to do something meaningful. I started angel investing in biotech companies. I knew the space, understood the science, and could evaluate opportunities that traditional VCs often missed. Between 2018 and 2024, I invested in 37 biotech and pharmaceutical startups. 12 failed completely, that's biotech. 8 are still operating, showing promise. 17 have been acquired or gone public. My track record was exceptional. The $180 million became $520 million over 6 years. I also stayed in research. I took a position at the University of Washington as a research affiliate. Essentially, I funded my own lab and worked on projects I found interesting. No pressure, no politics, just science. To my family, I was working in research at the university. They assumed I was making maybe $70,000 a year, struggling in academia while Daniel built his empire. I never corrected them. When they asked about my work, I'd say things like, just running some experiments. I was overseeing a $12 million research initiative, or, same old lab work. I was reviewing investment opportunities in a company.
Developing Marna vaccines. I lived in a 600 foot studio apartment in Capitol Hill. I drove a 2012 Subaru Outback. I wore jeans and hoodies. I looked exactly like what they expected. A struggling researcher hot made one lucky sale but never capitalized on IT. Daniel, meanwhile, had taken Genesis solutions from success to success. It expanded internationally, grown to 150 employees, and were generating $45 million in annual revenue by 2022. But there was a problem. They needed capital to scale further. The diagnostics market was consolidating. Bigger players were acquiring small companies. Genesis needed to either get significantly larger or risk being squeezed out. Daniel needed a major capital injection, at least $2 million, to expand manufacturing, increase sales teams, and solidify market position. He spent months trying to raise a Series C round. But the market was too off. Biotech was out of favor with investors. Genesis growth had slowed. Investors were offering lower valuations than Daniel wanted. I watched him struggle for 8 months. Then I made a decision. I created a holding company called Cascade Ventures, structured with career perks ownership that hit my identity. I had a more attorney approach Genesis solutions with a term sheet. The AUF, $180 million investment at a $220 million valuation, giving Cascade 81% equity. The terms were generous in every other way. Daniel retained operational control as CEO, minimal board interference, patent capital их 5%. The valuation was fair but required Daniel to accept significant dilution. и go from aning 47% to aning just 8,9%. But it has the capital to build Guinness into a major player. Our attorney presented IT as coming from a strategic investor with deep biotech expertise who wants to remain anonymous for competitive reasons. Daniel agonized 4 weeks. Giving up control was painful. But the alternative was watching Guinness stagnate or get acquired by a competitor for less than he thought it was worth. He took the deal in January 2023. Cascade Ventures bought 81% of Guinness Besolutions for $180 million. I owned a MOI broadcast company. He had no idea. Over the next 18 months, Guinness strived with proper funding. They expanded into European markets, acquired 2 small diagnostics companies, and grew to 280 employees. Revenue hit $92 million annually. The company was now valued at approximately $450 million. MOI 81% stake was worth approximately $364 million what it invested. Daniel's 8,9% was worth about $40 million. He was wealthy on paper, successful by any measure. And at every family gathering, he reminded everyone of IT. Daniel is here to eat the birthday party, November 2024. He chose to celebrate at Kenny's, one of Seattle's most expensive and exclusive restaurants. The private dining room, the tasting menu, the wine pairing, the dinner would cost at least $500 per person. The guest list included our parents, our younger sister Emma, Daniel's wife Rachel, and several of AG's executive team members from Guinness. I arrived in a MOI Subaru, wearing a night dress bout at Nordstrom Rack. Everyone else had clearly spent significantly more on their outfits than their labels, expensive jewelry, the uniform of biotech success. Daniel greeted me with a hug that felt performative. Sophie, you made IT. I wasn't sure you'd come all the way from, well, wherever you were in the laptop. I won't miss you, Birdie. Of course not. Free fancy dinner? Right. He laughed like it was a joke, but there was an edge to it. We sat down to eat. The private dining room had a stunning view of Lake Onion. The menu was prefixed 7 course, each more elaborate than the last. Conversation flowed. Daniel held court, talking about Guinness' expansion plans, their Q3 earnings, their pipeline of new products. We just signed a deal with Kaiser Permanente, here announced, $12 million over 3 years. Largest contract in company history. Every owner paid audit. Did blamed. Mom looked like she might see ROI with pride. One of Daniel's executives, a VP of sales, named Marcus, asked me полетело what I did. I work in research. Molecular biology. Academic research. Are you a professor? Just a researcher affiliate. I run some projects, do some experiments. That must be interesting. He said with the tone people who and they mean the opposite. Rachel, Daniel's wife, jumped in. He is being modest. She sold a company to Pfizer years ago. For a lot of money, right, Sophie? Everyone turned to look at me. IT was a while ago. I said quietly. How much was IT? Marcus asked. $340 million. Daniel answered for me. But that was 6 years ago. Has been in academia since then. Haven't you, sis? You've been doing research. Yes, sir. See, had the think about biotech, Daniel said, warming to this topic. You can't get lucky with one big sale, but building a sustainable company that is different. That takes real operational expertise, consistent execution, understanding markets and customers. Guinness has generated over $200 million in revenue since we started. Had a sustainable success, not just one lucky hit. Several people nodded thoughtfully. I took a sip of wine and sat noting. The course kept coming. Each one was a work of art. The wine pairings were exceptional. The conversation continued to revolve around Daniel's achievements. During the 5th course, you'll be withdraw for something to propose a toast. To Daniel, he said, standing. MOI son, who's built something extraordinary. Guinness's biosolutions is changing how we detect and diagnose cancer. You're saving lives and building a business empire. You are matter and I are so proud to. Everyone raised their glasses. To Daniel! I raised my glass too. Smiling полетела. Sophie, mom said after the toast, you should ask Daniel for career advice. He's doing so well. Maybe he could help you figure out your next steps. I'm fine with my current work. Mom too. But you're at here at Hre, honey. Don't you want more? A real career, not just research. I have a real career. I think what mom means, Daniel interrupted, is that you could be doing more. You're a talented, Sophie. You proved that with a wise sale. But you've been trading out since then. Maybe it's time to be more ambitious. I'm ambitious about my research. Research that isn't pay the bills tau, that is IT. He gestured around the room. I mean, can you even afford a place like this on a research affiliate salary? The table went quiet. Probably not, I said calmly. Exactly. Look, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying there is a reason I'm treating everyone to these jeans. Here is a reason I can afford to. Because I built something real. I didn't just get lucky once. Marcus looked uncomfortable. Rachel touched Daniel's arm. Honey, maybe. No, it's fine. Daniel continued. Sophinas, I love her. But someone needs to say it. You can't even afford this restaurant on your salary. Sophie. So let the successful people handle the check. Okay. You just enjoy the dinner. Everyone left nervously. A few people looked at their plates. I nodded quietly. Of course, that's my sister, Daniel said, raising Uche's glass. At least she's realistic about her situation. I smiled politely and finished my wine. The dinner continued. Dessert came some elaborate chocolate construction that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Daniel paid the bill with his black mix, making a show of it. $2,400. He announced to the table. But that's what happens when you made IT, right? You can treat the people you love. Everyone thanked him profusely. I thanked him too. We walked out to the parking lot together. Daniel and Rachel were parked next to my Subaru in their Tesla Model X, still driving that old thing. Daniel asked, gesturing at my car. IT runs fine too. You know, if you ever need help financially, I mean you can ask. Family takes care of family too. Thanks, Daniel. I keep that in mind too. I drove back to my studio apartment in Capitol Hill and sat in my car for 20 minutes, hands on the steering wheel. Daniel had humiliated me in front of everyone. Called me unrealistic. Said I'd sold their forward a restaurant. Offered me financial help while living in a company I owned 81% of. And everyone had left. And my parents, it is executives, it is already all accepted it is narrative without cohesion. I was done being invisible. I spent the weekend preparing. On Saturday morning, I called a meeting with my investment team attorney Michael Rodriguez and my financial advisor Sarah Kim and my accountant Patricia Chen. I want to execute the proxy vote, I told them. I want to take my 81% controlling interest in Genesis B Solutions Public. I want the board, the executives, and Daniel to know that Cascade Ventures is me. Michael raised an eyebrow. This will fundamentally change your relationship with your broad. He called me unrealistic and said I'd sold their forward a restaurant. While running a company I own, the relationship is already damaged date. Sarah pulled up Genesis cap table on her laptop. Your 81% stake gives you complete control. You can wire Daniel, restructure the board, change strategy anything. I don't want to wire him. I want him to know who really controls HES company. I want him to understand what he actually accomplished while he was calling me unsuccessful. Patricia added, you should also know Genesis's valuation has increased significantly. The company is now worth approximately $520 million based on recent comparable sales. Your stake is worth $421 million. Daniel's 8,9% is worth $46,3 million. So I could sell right now for $421 million. Yes, or you could hold and let IT grow. Genesis is performing well. I thought about IT. How long would IT take to execute the proxy vote and reveal ownership? I can have paperwork ready by Monday morning, Michael said. We fill the proxy vote documentation, notify the board, and call an emergency meeting. By Monday afternoon, everyone will know Cascade Ventures is you. Do a cheating. We spend the weekend preparing documentation. Michael drafted the proxy vote paperwork, the board notifications, and a statement explaining MY ownership structure. Sarah prepared financial report showing MY full portfolio за $520 million net worth, the certificate companies invested in, the track record of successful exits. Patricia compiled Guinness's financial statements alongside MY ownership documentation, creating a comprehensive picture that would be undeniable. On Sunday evening, I called my younger sister Emma. She was the only family member I was close to, the only one who never made me feel less than. A.M. So many things going to happen tomorrow. With Daniel's company. I wanted you to hear it from me first. What's going to happen? I'm the majority shareholder in Guinness's Biosolutions. I own 81% of it. Daniel is going to find out tomorrow. Silence on the other end. Emma, you own Daniel's company. Yes, through a holding company called Cascade Ventures. I invested $180 million 18 months ago. Nobody knew it was me too. I am why God, Sophie. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I was tired of MY success making everyone uncomfortable. So I hit IT. I let Daniel think he was running his own company while I was just a strong researcher. And now? Now he called me unrealistic at his birthday dinner. Said I'd sold forward a restaurant. Offered me financial help while running a company I own. So now everyone gets to know the truth. Amma was quiet for a moment. This is going to destroy him too. Maybe. But I'm tired of being destroyed at every family dinner while secretly funding everyone's success narrative. What can I do? Just don't hate me. Everyone else might, but I need you not to do it. I could never hate you. I'm proud of you, Sophie. I always have been too. After we hung up, I sat in my studio apartment and saw the food space that it maintained as weekend waited for Monday morning. Monday morning, 9 часов утра. Michael filed the proxy vote documentation with Guinness's Biosolutions corporate secretary. The paperwork revealed that Cascade Ventures, holder of 81% equity, was exercising voting rights on several board matters and requesting an emergency board meeting for 2 часа дня that day. The documentation also revealed, as required by law, the beneficial owner of Cascade Ventures, Sophie Winters. By 9 часов 30 минут утра, the board chairman, a man named Robert, called Daniel. I know because Michael was copied on all communications. He forwarded me the email chain. From Robert Chen, board chairman, to Daniel Winters, CEO subject, urgent, emergency board meeting. Daniel, we need to discuss something immediately. Cascade Ventures has called an emergency board meeting for 2 часа дня today. More importantly, you will just learn the identity of Sashidi's beneficial owner. It's your sister, Sophie Winters. She owns 81% of Guinness's Biosolutions. She's been the anonymous investor for the past 18 months. We need to discuss this before the meeting. Call me immediately. Robert, by 10 часов утра, my phone started ringing. Daniel, I let IT go to voicemail. He called 6 more times. Texted, Sophie, what the hell is going on? Call me right now. I texted back, I see you at the board meeting at 11 часов утра. My father called. Sophie, Daniel is devastated. He says you own HES company. That shan't be true. It's completely true. Cascade Ventures is mine. I invested $180 million in Guinness's инженерии 2023. But why? You hide that. Because every time I succeeded, you compared me unfavorably to Daniel. So I helped him succeed while staying invisible. Sympathized and dealing with the family dynamics touch. This is going to destroy him. Good. Maybe understand how I felt every time he called me unsuccessful while running a company I owned. My mother called next. I didn't answer. Rachel, Daniel's wife, sent a text. Sophie, please. Daniel is having a panic attack. He needs to know why you did this. I replied. И went out at the meeting too. At 1:45 дня, I walked into Genesis B Solutions headquarters for the first time. IT was a beautiful building, like modern, flat-ceiling windows overlooking Puget Sound. MOI $180 of million had helped pay for the space. The receptionist looked confused when I introduced myself. G.R. Winters. I don't think you're on the visitor list. I'm the majority shareholder. I'm here for the board meeting too. She made a call, and within 2 minutes, Robert Chen himself came down to escort me to the boardroom. G.R. Winters, he said, shaking my hand. This is unexpected. I am marginally atheistic. We walked to the boardroom. The entire board was there, 5 members total, including Robert and Daniel. There were all several senior executives, including Marcus from the Berdydinv. Daniel stood when I entered, which his face was pale, as he dreamed like it been crying. Sophie, he said, what are you doing? I'm attending a board meeting of a company I own 81% of. Please sit down to. Robert cleared his throat. Let's begin. G.R. Winters has called this emergency meeting to exercise for proxy voter rights and to address several matters regarding Genesis B Solutions governance. I stood at the head of the table, pulled out the documentation Sarah had prepared. For those who don't know, my name is G.R. Sophie Winters. I'm a microbiologist and angel investor. In January 2023, through MY holding company Cascade Ventures, I invested $180 million in Genesis B Solutions, acquiring 81% currently. I distributed copies of the cap table. Everyone read in silence. I structured the investment to remain anonymous because I'm Daniel's sister, and I wanted him to run the company without the complexity of family dynamics interfering to. Daniel's hands were shaking as he looked at the documents. For the past 18 months, Genesis has strived with prepare funding. UV grown from $45 million to $92 million in revenue. UV expanded internationally. UV acquired competitors. The company is now worth approximately $520 million, more than double what IT was worth when I invested. Marcus raised his hand. G.R. Winters, why are you revealing this now? Because MY brought out me unrealistic at his Berdydin on Friday. He said that so therefore the restaurant we were at. He offered me financial help, while running a company I own 81% of. I'm tired of being treated like a failure while secretly funding Iveroni sexist. Daniel found his voice. You did this to humiliate me. No, Daniel. I did this because I believe in your operational expertise. I gave you $180 million when no one else would fund your Series C. If you've been a silent partner, letting you take all the credit, asking nothing in return except respect. And instead, you mocked me publicly. I didn't know it was you. You shouldn't have needed to know it was me to treat me with respect. You're my brother. You should have wondered how I was doing, asked about my life, been curious about my success. Instead, you assumed I was a fair and felt superior about IT. Robert spoke up carefully. G.R. Winters, what are your intentions now? You have controlling interest. You can remove Daniel as CEO, restructure the company however you want. I don't want to remove Daniel. He's good at what he does. But I want certain things to change. I pulled out another document. First, MY board representation increases from 1 seat to 3 seats. I'm tired of being a silent investor. Second, executive compensation gets restructured. Daniel's current salary of $850,000 is excessive for a company this size. IT drops to $450,000 with performance bonuses tied to specific metrics. Daniel started to protest, but I continued. Third, Genesis as the filing for public offering gets accelerated. You're going public within 12 months. MY investment returns will be liquidated through that process. Forward, all my your strategic decisions require board approval. No more CEO unilateral authority. And finally, I look directly at Daniel. You publicly acknowledge In the prospectus no future communications, Z genesis be a solution scaled successfully because of a major capital injection from a strategic investor in 2023. You stop the of founder narrative. The room was silent. Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. You're taking a my company. No, Daniel. I'm making you acknowledge reality. I didn't take you a company I funded IT. You built something real operationally. But you did it with my money, and you need to admit that. This will destroy me, he said. Everyone will know I needed my little sister to succeed. Everyone should know that, because it's true. And here is no shame in IT unless you make it shameful by pretending it didn't happen. Robert cleared to his throat again. DR Winter's proposals are well within her rights as majority shareholder. I move that we vote on these changes. The vote was anonymous. MY 81% stake made it a formality, but even the other board members supported the changes. After the meeting, Daniel followed me to the elevator. Sophie, please, we need to talk about this. As family, you're talking as business partners, Daniel. I'm your majority shareholder. Had the relationship you chose when you accepted my money without knowing it was mine too. I would never have taken it if it known. Exactly. That's the problem. You would rather struggle than accept help from your little sister. Because accepting MOI's success means admitting I'm not the fair you need me to be. The elevator arrived there. I stepped in. Sophie, wait. The board meeting is adjourned, Daniel. If you have business concerns, route them through Robert. If you have family concerns, maybe you should have thought about that before offering me financial help at your barely didn't. The doors closed. The next 72 hours were chaos. Within 24 hours, the news leaked to the biotech industry press. Genesis Biosolutions mysterious investor revealed. Their sister controls 81% stake. MOI phone их плодит with messages. Reporters wanting interviews. Other biotech founders wanting to discuss investment opportunities. Headhunters offering positions at Venturi capital firms. MOI family was devastated in different ways. MOI father called angry. Sophie, how could you humiliate your brother like this? Publicly. I didn't humiliate him. I revealed the truth. You're destroying IC's reputation. IC's reputation was built on denying MOI contribution. Maybe it needed destroying too. MOI matter called, crying. Sophie, Daniel is so hurt. He feels betrayed. I feel betrayed too, Mom. If you felt betrayed for 9 years while you called me a disappointment and praised him. Emma was the only Super TV voice. Sophie, I saw the news. Are you okay? I'm fine. Tired. But fine. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Daniel needed to face reality too. The most surprising reaction came from the Genesis employees. I received an email from a research director named Dr. Lisa Park. Dr. Winters, I want to thank you. When Cascade invested 18 months ago, IT saved our jobs. The company was striving to raise capital, and we were worried about the FSO acquisition by a competitor who got our research division. Your investment let us keep doing the work we love. Learning you're Daniel's sister, and that you're also a research scientist, makes perfect sense. You understood what we were building in a way that traditional investors didn't. Thank you for believing in Genesis. Lisa, over the next week, I received similar messages from 17 other Genesis employees. They weren't upset about the revelation, they were grateful. But Daniel wasn't grateful. Daniel was a message. According to Emma, who still lived in Seattle and saw him regularly, Daniel had stopped going to the office. He was depressed, angry, humiliated. Rachel was worried about him. 2 weeks after the board meeting, Rachel called me. Sophie, I need you to hear something. Daniel tried to kill himself last night. MOI blood went cold. What? Is okay. I found him in time. It's taken pills. Is at the hospital now, under psychiatric evaluation. I am good. Rachel, I didn't want. I know. But you need to understand that his entire identity was wrapped up in being the successful one. The son who made IT. The brother who surpassed you. Learning that was all built on your foundation. IT broke something in him too. What do I do? Come see him. Please. He needs to weigh this. But he needs his family too. I went to the hospital that afternoon. Daniel was in a private room, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Pale, exhausted, defeated. Hey, I said quietly from the doorway. He looked up. IHSAs were red. You came, Tuck? Of course I came. You're my brother, Tuck. The brother who mocked you at HAS birthday dinner, Tuck. Yeah, that brother. She lived, bitter and broken. I tried to kill myself, Sophie, over a business revelation. How pathetic is that? I sat in the chair next to HA's bed. It's not pathetic. It's a symptom of how much pressure you were under to be perfect. I wasn't under pressure, I was successful. You were successful because I funded you. And instead of that being okay, instead of that being just family helping family, you felt like a T invalidity at everything touch. He was quiet for a long time. WHY did you do IT? Really? WHY give me $180 of million. Because you're a MY brother. Because you're actually good at running biotech companies, the operations, the sales, the scaling. You just needed capital. And I had IT too. But WHY had IT. Because every time I succeeded visibly, the family made IT weird. When I saw to wise, that soul me stop comparing IT to your sustainable success. So I learned to succeed invisibly. To fund things without taking credit. That's incredibly sad. Sophie. So he's taking pills because your little sister turned out to be successful too. He smiled weakly. Fair point. We sat in silence for a while. What happens now? Daniel finally asked. With Genesis, with us, with everything. With Genesis. You keep running IT. You're good at IT. But the board actually oversees you now, and we go public within a year. You'll make millions from that. BY the way. Your 8,9% stake will be worth at least $46 minimum V. And with us. That's up to you. I don't need you to gravel or fall apart. I just need you to see me. Really see me. Not as a dropout sister or the lucky researcher or the family disappointment. See me as someone who's built something real too. Im Sauri, he said, they're starting. Im so Sauri. Sophie. You deserve the better from me. From all of us. You built an incredible career. Helped me when I needed IT most. And I repaid you by my king, you the my birthday didn't. Yes, you did that. Can you forgive me? Eventually. But first you need to get better. Really better. Not just through this crisis, but through this WHY you felt like success was the only thing that gave you worth. The family pressure is something we both felt. But I dealt with ITBY building in secret. You dealt with ITBY performing success publicly. Neither of those is LT. Daniel, he nodded slowly. Will you help me? I don't mean financially. I mean, help me figure out how to be okay with not being perfect. Yes, but you have to actually work at IT. Therapy, honesty, growth. Not just lip service to it. I will. I promise it. Over the next 6 months, Daniel did the work. He went to therapy 3 times a week. He stepped back from some of HA's Genesis responsibilities, promoting Marcus to CEO to handle day-to-day operations. He started focusing on the parts of the job he actually loved: strategy, partnerships, vision rather than trying to control everything. Most importantly, he started asking me about MOI life. We hit launch monthly. It asked about MOI investments, MOI research, MOI goals. He listened to MOI answers. He stopped comparing, stopped competing, stopped performing. At Christmas dinner, 9 months after HA's birthday disaster, Daniel made a toast to MOI sister Sophie, who was the most successful person in this family and who we criminally underestimated for far too long. You're a brilliant, generous, and patient with people who don't deserve IT. I'm grateful you're MOI sister too. Everyone raised their glasses. That looked uncomfortable but joined in. Mom was crying. I raised MOI glass back. To Daniel, who's learning that success isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Guinness SBA Solutions went public in June 2025. The IPO was valued at $740 million. MOI 81% stake was worth approximately $600 million. Daniel's 8,9% was worth $600 million. We both became extremely wealthy from the IPO, though we'd been extremely wealthy long before. The day after the IPO, Daniel called me. I just became a multimillionaire. Congratulations to it. Because of you. Because you funded Guinness when nobody else would. And because you ran it well. Don't diminish your contribution, Daniel. You were the operator. I was just the capital. Just the capital that made everything possible. Fine. We were partners. You on operations. Me on capital. Both essential. Partners. Here great. I like that trick. MOI relationship with MOI parents improved slowly. Mom started asking about MOI investments with genuine curiosity. The attended MOI keynote speech at the ABA Tech Investment Conference and told me afterward he was proud. IT isn't perfect. Old patterns don't disappear overnight. But IT was better. The best change was in how I saw myself. For 9 years, it hidden MOI success, convinced that being invisible was easier than dealing with family dynamics. It let people call me a dropout, a disappointment, someone who'd sold their favorite a restaurant. But I wasn't any of those things. I was the years a few winters, microbiologist and angel investor. It built a company that was required for $340 million. It turned that into $520 million through strategic investments. I owned controlling stakes in multiple biotech companies. I was successful. Objectively, undeniably successful. And I wasn't hiding anymore. Last week, I moved out of my studio apartment in Capitol Hill. Not to a mansion, I'm still not that person, but to a nice bedroom condo in downtown Seattle with a view of the water and space for a home office. I also finally traded in my 2012 Subaru. Got a Tesla Model Y. Daniel sent me a check when he's witty. Look at you, spending money. I'm so proud to. I texted back. Successful people can afford nice cars. Someone told me that once too. He replied. That someone was an idiot. But is learning to. MOI brought us that I saw their favorite a restaurant. He was wrong. I own 81% of EGS company worth $520 million. More importantly, I own MOI success. And I isn't apologizing for it anymore.